I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
Bro, you gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's a white people thing.
Escúchame, en esta casa los hombres no lloran.
You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
Thanks for hearing me out, bro. Appreciate it.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad. Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A spur-of-the-moment decision. Might be the dumbest thing we've done in quite a while. Might be a fantastically fun night here, too. Good evening. We're back on the air. It's the National Racing Network. My name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us here tonight. A fun night, a little bit of a somber, a sad night. This is going to be a really, really fun show for you guys. This is the final PM18 SOF top split race that will happen here on the iRacing platform. I am joined in the booth, as always, by Mr. Patrick Byrne, the Bizzler, and James Watson. James now doing play-by-play since, well, I don't employ him anymore. Bizzle, you're on the road too. Man, I'll tell you what, guys, I hate that this is why we're coming together, but we have two splits of PM18 races around the Chicago street circuit. This thing's going to be a fun show here tonight, I think.
Yeah, absolutely adore these cars. These things are little rocket ships. They race fantastically well. I mean, we had 4 years to broadcast these things where weekend after weekend, we would get here on a Thursday night, and you'd have guys finish with a tenth of a second between first and second place in the USF 2000 race, and then we'd hop on over, follow it up an hour later with the PM18s, and you'd get a combined margin of victory of the night of 0.03 of a second. These cars are insane. They race really well, and after 4 or 5 years, some of these guys are the best in the world with these cars, and you get to see them all in action.
Yeah, and James, to that point, we had back-to-back weeks. Carter Lundy and David Porcelli won 1,000th of a second at the line for the win. A margin of victory over 2 races in 2 weeks was 2 1,000ths of a second. I don't know that we're going to get that here tonight, quite frankly, as we follow with Nagisa Yoshikawa, but man, I don't know, because Chicago is such an unpredictable place to try to whip these little PM18s around.
Yeah, you have absolutely no idea what in the world is going to happen. Anything and everything can happen at this place. It's narrow, it's wide, it's scary, you're going to hear a lot of screaming, and it's not just going to be my screaming for once, everybody's going to be screaming. And the time that we've come to Chicago Street since the season finale of, I want to say, our first or second season ever doing the SOF way back in early 2021. So not only is it difficult, a lot of the guys currently racing right now weren't really around back for that last race. The only one I can remember off the top of my head is Mike Haller, who ended up winning that race with the home field advantage. And speaking of home field advantage for Chicago, quote unquote, I am currently broadcasting on a Sunday here at actual Chicago for the Sim Gaming Expo. I blew off my big important duties to come. Honestly, more important.
Sorry, James. Nagisa wadding shit up here. We'll pick up with Carter Kunlinger, who is quick time thus far in a 1 minute 21.288. And let's see what lap number 2 is going to look like as he's down over the start finish line. And it will be, it was quick, but not quick enough as Alexander Miller goes quick time. Liam Loisel coming across the line. He as well is going to be a very speedy one indeed. Let's take a look here. We'll pick up Mike Holler. We'll give you the actual PM18 experience. We're not going to show you any moving cameras whatsoever tonight.
That camera moves.
I kid saying that. Mike Holler here making his way down the front stretch in the Citizens Climate Lobby, number 7. He's going to come across the line in position number 9. As we mentioned, 2 splits on the night tonight. West Shire out on the racetrack as well in the Homestead Coffee Canon Cameras entry. He's coming around to complete lap number 2 as well. Of note, we talked about this a little bit in the pre-race here, guys. Somebody you might expect to be up front, not going to get a lap in qualifying. That has happened here tonight. David Dalton Jr. carrying the number 2 as the second highest I-rated driver in the field. He does not get a lap in. So he will have to start this race shotgun on the field.
Fellow Buckeye, Kevin Smalley joining us in the group. Chris, you are outnumbered 3-1 now. You got me, Mr. James Watson, and Kevin Smalley, all from the Buckeye State, calling this race right alongside you.
I can just fire you guys. That's fine. I can just turn you off.
You do not. One native though. We're still OHO now.
Like
yes. Yeah.
Am I the only one that actually likes it here?
Yeah.
You might be the only one on the planet that likes the state of Ohio, let alone the city of Cleveland.
No, I live in Akron. I like Akron. You go to the Rubber Ducks games, they call it Quackron. It's pretty cute. I like it.
Okay, I will admit that's pretty.
You know what? That accurately describes what we're watching here tonight. It is some Thursday night Maction. The Akron Zips playing some MAC football here tonight, I think. Qualifications are over. It is time for us to get ready to show you the starting grid for tonight's race. And let's see. As they're going to start to get gridded up, we'll bring up the iRacing USFPRO lineup. Starting on the pole, piloting car number 5, it will be Alexander Miller with a lap time of 1 minute 20.756 seconds. Lining up to his outside, Carter Kundinger out of the USA, only 32 thousandths of a second back. Liam Loisel out of Canada, lining up inside of row number 2. To his outside, the T. Watson Racing setups number 3 of Nagisa Yoshikawa. Row number 3 on the grid, Brian Labarge piloting the NASA Meatball Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Team Watson Racing setups on the side of that number 6 machine. And to his outside, the Miller Beer Wagon, Jason Miller. Row number 4 in a Dan Gurney All-American Eagle livery throwback there. That's J.W. Miller. J.W., longtime pilot in this series. Love to see him out here tonight. And Joseph Heath, the Pennzoil Yellow Submarine with the Danny Ricciardo Dale Earnhardt tribute helmet. I absolutely love it. Just so much old school throwback there. Dylan Milashinsky lining up inside of row number 5 in the Valvoline number 13. And to his outside, the Homestead Coffee Roaster Schaefer Oil Cannon Cameras number 9 of New York's West Shire. Benjamin Bachman out of Canada lining up inside of row number 6, and on his outside, the Citizens Climate Lobby number 7 of Mike Holly. You see the stars there on the front wings, the flag of the city of Chicago there. David Dalton Jr., we mentioned that number 2, not getting a lap in the books, and that means he's going to start shotgun and last on this field here this evening.
With Mike, that's the best idea.
I disagree with that, James. Chicago is a very tough track to pass at, especially in these open wheel cars. This circuit was designed for stock cars. It's designed with heavy braking zones. You can shove a guy out of the way a little bit. In these open wheelers, we've only seen that done productively once.
But you see, Patrick, it's only a bad idea if you actually have to pass. It's a great idea if everyone crashes in front of you and you miss it. Caps on forehead.
Yeah, but the guys at the front of the field, your J.W. Miller, your Liam Loisel, Nagisa Yoshikawa, they're going to get away from that wreck. Where Brian Labarge is, Joseph Heath is...
Who's causing this huge pile-up that we're worried about? This is an extremely clean field.
It's still Chicago we're talking about here.
Thank you. I was hoping somebody would make the Chicago joke before I would have a chance to. So 18 laps the distance on this one here, and looking at about 25 minutes or so is what they're anticipating. Kevin, what do you think we see here? Are we going to see a lot of guys that, I mean, they're just flat sideways and squirrely here, or do you maybe run a little bit more downforce and sacrifice the speed at various points?
I think you got it to be safe. Like this is the safe survival race. Of course, these guys are way more skilled than me, so I would crank on all the downforce to try to stay out of the wall and stay alive.
I'm going to say this is a downforce track completely. You have a lot of flat corners. You have a lot of odd elevation change. Everything that wants to upset the car will upset the car. This section right here, it is damn close to flat out exiting the fountain section with a ton of downforce. If you have this car trimmed out, you're going to have to stab the brakes there, and it's going to kill your momentum into the final section.
Yeah, but keep in mind, there is no such thing as downforce when your car is being launched off the track.
That's true. That is a fantastic point, James. By the way, I got to get some of these comments in here real quick. Sign-on checking in. Thank you for joining, Sign-on. We appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. Grant Clark represent. Shadow Fox giving us a go blue. Wag saying Ohio State beat Texas. That don't matter. They're still going to lose to Penn State anyway. Vidane TV, Paul Strickland says, "Hi, Dad. As we go, green flags out. We're underway one final time here in Chicago, and it's going to be Miller with an early lead into turn 1, side by side, back for second."
Well, everyone survived so far.
Tell you what, Andrew
A lot
Miller
of cars
almost
getting
put it up
really
into
close
the
to that wall.
No kidding. But you see Miller already starting to pull a bit of a gap here.
Made it through half a lap. Time for Mr. Watson to eat some Grant Park Crow.
I don't know how it's taken me this long to realize we have 3 different Millers in this race.
Yes. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Matty Wag is calling you full of doo-doo for being a Penn State fan.
Yeah, that's all right. He can go away. I'm kidding. If you want to have something to say about that, if you want to compliment Ohio State or the state of Ohio in any way, you're gonna have to do it with a super chat. Put some money up on the board, and then we'll let you talk and run your mouth a little bit. Until then, good battle back here. Joe Heath, West Shire, Dylan Vilashinsky just up ahead of them. That's really the only battle we're seeing right here.
Real quick, and don't forget to send all hate mail to Bizzle at nationalracingnetwork.com.
That's true. We have, I don't have the comments graphic up here. I'll see if I can get that up without blowing things up. But we can usually show your comments on the air. One of which is, if you want to send hate mail, send it to Bizzle at nationalracingnetwork.com. Patrick will get it, and he may answer it.
I have answered every single ounce of hate mail I've gotten on that address.
I can confirm because I've sent him many myself.
So, working lap...
You and M. Cullen send me so much hate mail for people I thought that were my friends.
That's why we have to send you so much hate mail, because we're your friend.
So, okay, guys, so let's take a look here. Nagisa Yoshikawa, he's got about a half second on Brian Labarge. Jason Miller right back behind. This is kind of an interesting battle. These 3 guys have a very, very long history in this car, but not necessarily recently. We've been away for the better part of a year. I don't know how much Nagisa has run. I know Brian's run a little bit, but not a ton. This is kind of an all-star field that's come out for a last hurrah for the PM18s.
So this week and last week were actually the first 2 races that Yosh has run in probably more than a year. It's been a while. Yosh has been busy with college and karting.
He was some trouble there. Was that dropping?
That was J.W. Miller. I am not... PTVO sucks at the moment and is not updating my session events, so I have no idea what the hell's going on basically anywhere on the racetrack other than the timing screen. Let's take a look here. Battle at the front of the field. Alexander Miller, Carter Cudlinger, nose to tail for the race lead.
Oh man, it's so hard to go any sort of close to a car in that section. To me, that is the most terrifying section on this track because it goes to something so narrow. You feel like you're at Monaco all of a sudden, and it's hard to really kind of ascertain your braking point and your turning point. So you're just kind of shooting at a little tiny gap in the track, not entirely sure if you're going to make it or if you're going to rip off half of your car. So you really don't want to be around a car when you're trying to figure out if you're going to live or not through that section.
A couple of comments coming in here. Bizzle sending us $4.20 saying OH.
Oh no.
Losers. Wag sending $2 saying Ohio State is beating Penn State. Not a snowball's chance in hell that that's happening this year, but you guys can have your fun while you're going to try to ride it here. Working lap number...
You want to put $100 on it?
Potentially. I actually might be convinced to do that.
Graham, I've been pulling for Penn State to pull the upset on Ohio State for years. It hasn't happened yet. Why do you think it's going to happen this time?
I don't know. It's blind optimism because, quite frankly, you're not going to beat Ohio State so long as James Franklin's the coach. But there, I said it, all right? Battle. This battle is nose to tail. The next fight we're going to have is a little bit deeper in the field. J.W. Miller, Dylan Vilashinsky. Those guys, they're separated by about half a second. Let's take a look and see. West Shire is in the middle of some stuff. Benjamin Bachman goes around. That's going to let David Dalton Jr. come through.
I think he kept it off the wall. I don't think he hit anything.
He may not have.
pops the clutch, flicks it around right next to the beam. He's on his way.
Pops the clutch, flicks the bean, and there you go. You get it off, and away you go.
We're playing some comments here. I see Shadow Spox and Shininsa talking about. This is actually our server. The TNT server is where we're broadcasting this race from. We're going to be running this race in this time slot in open hosted. So it's going to be our schedule curated by us who, not to brag a little bit, but I feel like we're the experts in these cars. And a lot of the community managers that have run this series for so long. So no iRacing dictation saying we have to run this track. We're only going to run the tracks that we want to run and that produce good racing for these cars. It's completely free to enter, so there should be no fear of missing out. We're going to do it, and we're going to do it better than iRacing did.
Yeah, we're going to make our own SOF with blackjack and hookers.
There you go, James.
Good God, we're talking blackjack and hookers. I knew this was going to be a show. I'm usually the one drunk enough to start that conversation, but apparently not yet here tonight. David Dalton Jr. just getting around West Shire. That's the battle for the 9th position. We'll stay up here where the leaders are because Cody Stevens wouldn't have it any other way than to have us focusing only on the leaders because they're within a car length of each other.
Yes, no, that's how I run them too.
Yep, that's exactly right.
I don't care about who's in second.
Working lap number 6. We are 1/3 of the way there. Paul Strickland checking in the comments. I hope that guy's okay. You can make the Dale joke, bud. He's all right, ain't he? He looks all right.
Okay.
Well, you guys were talking about the SOF-ish race that we're going to be putting on week after week. That's something, all the super chats that come in tonight, I'm going to send that money off to West Shire or whoever it is that's going to put those up week after week. And basically, we're going to start the kitty for the open-hosted PM18 SOF race. So if you want to contribute to that, if you want to do the super chat or the super thanks or whatever the hell it is afterwards, feel free to do that one. I will be taking all that money and kicking it off to whoever it is putting up the hosted sessions. But I'm really looking forward to that because one of the things is we ran these cars in the TNT Shock Series, and it was always fantastic racing on ovals. Then you would run the kind of official SOF races, and you got a different crew until it came to oval week. And you had 2 oval weeks every season where it was knockdown, drag out, and top split sometimes might not have the guys battling for the championship purely because they weren't good oval racers.
And you would also have the good oval racers who've been do jack crap on road running up front and winning. Hi, me, I'm the problem.
Say welcome to the booth.
You see West Shire sitting there in 10th place, and if this is your first ever USF or USFPRO race you've ever watched, you might go, West Shire, that guy kind of sucks. He's sitting all the way back there in top 10, not really doing much in this race. He is the best damn oval racer in these cars by far. He has driven this car inside and out. He has the biggest spreadsheet I've ever seen of where this car works on ovals, where it doesn't work on ovals, why it doesn't work, what modifications you have to make to the wind, to the temperature to make it work. This guy knows this car inside and out on ovals, and frankly, it's a challenge to beat him. You have to try your damnedest to get in front of him on an oval. On a road course, he's a top 10 kind of guy. And that's the disparity in these cars, and that's why a split schedule between oval and road courses makes these cars freaking amazing.
Yeah, and let me tell you, it definitely took everything I had to beat him for the win in 2 of the 3 oval SOFs this season.
Yeah, and so, guys, let's talk here as we work lap number 8, coming up on lap number 9. These cars were they were really interesting from a tire perspective because they would go better and better and better and better until you hit a cliff. But in these SOF length races, you never got close to finding the cliff. So these two are not only setting great laps nose to tail of each other, but they're still setting their fastest laps of the race and doing it right now.
Yeah, not only are their tires getting better, the fuel is running out of these cars. They're getting lighter. So usually these races, in this one, for example, you're going to see the fastest lap on lap 17 or 18.
Yeah, I think I want to call our attention back in the field a little bit in the 6 through 8. So Holler, Miller, and I really set myself up. This is car 13, but they had been covered by about 7/10 about 2 laps ago, and Mike Holler's pulling out a lead there of over a second now. Just while I've been talking.
Hold up! Trouble on the racetrack. Yes, we did. Alexander Miller on pit lane. Miller hits pit lane. Is racing. Looks like the front maybe a little bit here, but
which means knowing the damage model on the car right now, that means it's too much damage. We're done. If the car looks perfectly fine but has a meatball. Don't ask me how I know that.
That was one of the goofy things about this car that iRacing never fixed. It could be absolutely beat to hell, and you were good to keep going, but rush the wall the wrong way, game over, night's done. Oh, that's a ballsy pass there.
Disappointed. Yeah. I'm disappointed they fixed the wacky setup hacks you can do to these cars. There was one season, it was the second season of the TNT Oval Series, before we were even calling it Shock, and there was just this guy, Oysen Walsh. He was untouchable, and I finally figured out the setup hack, and both me and him were untouchable for about 2 weeks, and then iRacing patched it. And you couldn't mess with the shocks anymore, you couldn't glitch it out, and you basically were grip hacking the car. It would be like a Gordon Smiley setup. You stepped it out just a hair the wrong way, and you were nose deep into the wall and screwed. But if you got that car right on the edge, right on the limit, if you were a second faster than the rest of the field, there's nothing they could do about it.
It was kind of like the concept of coil binding that the Cup cars eventually got to. And it took, I figured that out so long after you guys did, because I am absolutely terrible at driving sim race cars. I can talk about them, I'm just not good at driving them. As Vilashinsky and Dalton are going to do battle here. With the issues for Alexander Miller, by the way, he says in the Discord chat, maybe I should just sell off all my sim racing equipment. Might be a better use of my time. I wouldn't go that far, buddy. But it does mean that Carl Kundlinger sitting on now a 7.5 second lead over Liam Loisel. Nagisa Yoshikawa about 2/3 of a second back. He's almost cut it down to a half second or so. But this is the best battle on the racetrack right now with Dalton and Vilashinsky, and it's allowing J.W. Miller to catch back up. That's the thing about fighting on these street courses, Kevin, is you really end up fighting not just one guy, but you end up fighting 3 or 4, because as soon as you battle, everybody else is able to catch up to you.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're drafty cars, so that's we've seen those tactics play out before, where people will wait until the last lap to try to make passes and things like that. So I'd say right now, Dalton's going to have to make probably a 1.5 seconds until he can start feeling that from the 7 cars draft, and we'll see how that goes.
By the way, Shadow Fox, Christian Jasper, how the hell are you, buddy? You're another one. We need to get you up into the booth here with us and hanging out a little bit. But now working lap number 11 of 18. We are getting down to, we'll call it about 8 laps to go here. This battle has started to settle down, but it's the closest one on the racetrack right now. Liam Loisel, Nagisa Yoshikawa separated by 1.2 seconds at the front of the field. In fact, we'll take a run through the field here quickly. Carl Kundlinger, your race leader, he has led basically from the drop of the green flag here. Starting in second position, Alexander Miller obviously leading a pile of laps here at the front of this race, but Kundlinger right there with them throughout this whole thing. Running in the second position, one of those guys we see a ton of, Liam Loisel. Liam, really, really good competitor in these cars. And quite frankly, as some of the names, we saw some ships in the names here. The first season we did this, we had Greg Seitz. Greg Seitz murdered everyone. There was no fun to be had running these cars because everybody ran for second. We started to get a handful of different names. We got Liam about, I don't know, maybe a year and a half or so ago, 2 years ago. Really, really quick in these cars. Being chased down by Nagisa Yoshikawa. A lot of wins. I don't think Nagisa has a championship in these cars.
Now, James, you would know better than we do, but Nagisa is an Illinois local, isn't he?
He is.
Yep, Illinois guy, and busy with real-world karting and all that kind of stuff, too. He does drive, like, real-world stuff. See the little sparks there? With full loop Ryan kicking the dust up on the outside wall there. Running in the 4th position, that would be Mr. Brian Labarge. He's starting to catch up a little bit after the kiss by Yoshikawa. Labarge running in the 4th position. Again, another guy, he is one of my favorites to have gotten to call over the years because he joined at about my skill level and very quickly got good. And then he got really good, ultimately becoming pretty close to a championship contender as Carl Kundinger puts up a new fastest lap of the race with 6 circuits remaining. Rounding out the top 5 cycle through the field here, we'll pick up Mike Holler. That Citizens Climate Lobby number 7 making his way down towards turn number 1. Chicago native. You knew he wasn't going to miss a chance to run a home race, especially for the final time in these cars, because he's another guy. Just a consistent, like, 3rd to 6th place guy, week in and week out for years in these cars.
And a former community manager. Thanks for his time with that.
Yeah, I'd say he was a CM. Brian Labarge did for a while. God, and then there were so many that came before those guys as well.
Nathan Owen, Everett Paddock.
Yep. Yeah, a little bit sad we don't get to see Everett out here, but been a long run in these cars. Now, we're kind of saying this is a little bit of a funeral. The car is being replaced. The IL-15, the Indy Lights car, is coming to iRacing, allegedly, next season.
Now, this isn't that sad. From the day the server was started, within the first month of this series being started in the server, Jason Owen said if the IL-15 comes out, this becomes the home for the IL-15.
That's exactly right. The server's not going anywhere.
No, our whole goal has been to make U.S. open wheel racing below IndyCar so popular that we can get the IL-15. It is the dream car for all of us. So it's somber that this car is leaving us, but I think we're sad for a moment.
And it's leaving in an official capacity here, James. Right, I say it's the officials, and the big one is this is a C-Class series. The IL-15 is coming in to replace it at C-Class. The difference being that car will not be open setup. These cars are open setup, and there are pretty wildly different takes on how these drivers try to make speed in them, James. So that's kind of one of the big things is you don't get to customize to your driving style. You're kind of stuck with whatever iRacing gives you.
Yeah, and that's what's kind of infuriating about it is because iRacing's fixed setups cater to kind of one specific driving style. They tend to be much more on the tight side, and there are some of us, me included, that have a skill issue when it comes to tight setups. I need the car to be loose. I need it to behave a certain way for me to have any hope of being competitive. I know I will not be competitive in those fixed setups because they're just not made for the driver I am, and it just kind of it kills my excitement and all of my desire to run it in an official setting just because of the fact that I'm closed off in this box of not being able to be competitive and find ways to kind of drive above my skill level in different avenues.
Yeah, I'll add to that point. We all share setups in the TNT server, and you get guys like Wes Shire who share his setup, and they're a touch on the loose side, but only a touch. They're fairly neutral setups. You'll have a guy like Jason Owen share his setup, and it's like, this thing doesn't even turn at all. You've got a drag car here. And then you have James' setup, they're a little more looser, and then my setups have been described as Gordon Smiley, where they're just completely undrivable. And all of us can run up front together, 4 wide, and go crazy with it. You have 4 different philosophies, and that's what made this car so great, is you have 4 very, very different handling cars all running the same lap times right next to each other, making their lap time in different parts of the track.
So I'm getting some messages here. Allegedly, James, it sounds like you're talking in a cave. And apparently I sound like a phone sex operator from 1997. So, okay.
Hey, I told you I'm on location.
No, I don't think that's the reason, but that's all right. You can play. You can play that.
Professional.
No, you're not. So let's 3 laps to go here. We'll hang out here with the David Dalton Jr. Mike Holler battle. Actually, let's slide back a little bit. We'll pick up J.W. Miller and Wes Shire. They're about 4/10 or so apart. We'll call it 5 car lengths as they come off the corner. Long ways to go to catch that group up in front of them. Benjamin Bachman running about 6/10 back of J.W. Miller here as well. Fairly tight battle here. Absolutely nothing going on at the front of the field. And this kind of reminds me of those Greg Seitz races, James. Greg Seitz, you would talk about Greg during qualifying because he set fast time, won the pole. You'd talk about him doing the starting lineup. And then you didn't talk about him again until the last couple quarters of the race because he was just gone. 11 seconds was the first couple of laps he had in these cars. It was incredible what he was able to do with them.
Absolutely. Like, Greg was the first absolute dominator of the league. You know, he won so many races, but you know, you do remember the times where Greg did have to fight. I remember Iowa and him and Everett Paddock side by side with each other for the last 15 laps of the race, with Greg getting the win. I can't remember his name, but there was that one European fellow that led almost every lap of Okayama, just spinning with, I think, 3 to go, while holding off Greg the entire time before that.
The message coming through on my phone says, punt him. I don't think Wes is that kind of guy, especially not the J.W. Miller. Maybe somebody else. Wes has executed a bump and run. Or was it Jason Owens on Wes Shire? I don't remember which.
I believe it was Jason on
Wes at Gateway. A straight up bump and run. Got the nose up, nose to nose, and just picked it up enough to make it wiggle on corner entry. I've never seen the bump and run work in an open wheel car before. As we are down to the final lap of the final SOF race here in the PM18s, and we will pick up your race leader, Carter Kundiger. Bittersweet a little bit here, guys. Obviously we've seen domination like this in the past, but let us know in the comments. Do you want to see, when we go to doing these kind of open-hosted PM18 races, do you want to see them? Do you want to see us do the Indy Lights car? Maybe we'll come back with TNT Shock. Who knows? We'll have to see where we can get some, make sure we can get the funding squared up for these to make them happen. But I'm looking forward to it. I may even break out my 25-year-old steering wheel. My wheel, I think, is older than Bizzle. As Kundiger
It is almost as old as I am.
Yeah. As Kundiger comes off the final corner, he'll see the twin checkers. Carter Kundiger gets the win in USFPRO 2000, the final edition of Liam Loisel, going to be all by himself off the final corner. He's going to have the Gisele Yoshikawa about 7/10 of a second back. They will round out your podium. Coming across next, Brian Labarge, followed by David Dalton Jr. Then we'll pick up Dylan Vilashinsky off the final corner. He is going to come home in the 6th position, followed by Mike Holler, J.W. Miller, and Benjamin Bachman also close. Last cars on the lead lap to finish here are going to be Wes Shire. He will make one final right-hand turn. He'll see the checkered flag, and it'll be Joseph Heath. And I believe Andrew Miller may have already even come across the line. Yep, Miller has completed his run. There's Joseph Heath.
Yeah, our cameras missed it, but I think Wes dropped about 10 seconds on that last lap. Maybe a spin or something.
Yeah, Wes lost a whole bunch of time. Unfortunately, the session events just aren't working for us here, but there's your podium finishers. Carter Kundiger picking up the win. We'll show you your final official race results. Kundiger over Loisel, Yoshikawa, LaBarge, Dalton, the top 5. Vilashinsky, Holler, Miller, Bachman, and Shire complete the top 10 here this evening. 3 more cars on page number 2. Joe Heath, Alex Miller, and Jason Miller rounding out the field. Let's see. I know we don't have Carter to talk to. I don't see Liam or Nagisa either. So I guess that this is kind of where you're going to say, all right, I think it might be time for us to get ready to head off the air here, as our guys are they're gonna burn them down and do some donuts, maybe even some attenuations here on the front stretch. But
well, they're getting that set up. One last love letter to open setups. You could see it in if you go back a couple laps, you could see it in that battle of 3. The front 2 were a loose setup, and the third was a tight setup, and you could just see it coming off the corners and smacking the walls, and or not. And let's see what these guys do. We're going to do dive into the spare parts bin that we don't need anymore.
This is a bit emotional that we're seeing the end of these USF 2000 Pro Series official races. I mean, this series, Jason Owens once told me, if you can help get this race official, I will buy you a year's supply of bratwurst. I didn't even have to finish the race. I didn't have to win. I just had to show up. I showed up. I wrecked Jason Owens on lap 1 of the race, just unintentionally, 0 practice, and I still got a year's supply of bratwurst.
I remember that. I was in that race.
You do look like a guy that would love to have a year's worth of sausage in his hands.
You know, I drive down to Pennsylvania to have your wife's sausage in my hands every year.
That's true. Actually, I think I'll see you this weekend for that. On that note, I think it's time for us to go before we say something actually patently offensive. For Kevin Smalley, James Watson, Patrick Byrne, the Bizzler, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you all so much for coming to hang out with us. We will talk to you all later. For the PM18s, good night, good love, and man, we'll see you later. Rest easy, Fred. It was a lot of fun. See you guys.